Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner. So today we're going to be creating this card. It looks pretty simple, but the technique is really cool. So we are going to be painting or colouring using some embossing powders. So to do this, you're going to either need an embossing pad or the actual liquid, and then some embossing powder as well. To start with, I'm going to be using a panel of cardstock, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of embossing into this. So I'm using the embossing shims rather than the cutting shims. I want this as an embossed image rather than it to be cut out. I'm using the Leafy Garland, and I'm just going to tape this into place before I run it through my machine because I don't want it to move around. This is where I want it to be on my card. Once I've done that, you can see that we've got a great embossed impression on there now, and we can use this as a guideline. So first up, I'm going to be using the copper embossing powder, and here I'm going to just show you how you can use an embossing pad to do this technique, as well as the liquid later on. So I'm just going to use some baby powder just to get rid of all the static, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paintbrush and I'm just going to paint in where I want to colour in with my embossing powder. So I'm taking the copper, and I'm just going to be using the copper for the branch bits. This is kind of a abstract leafy garland, so you can kind of play with it. It doesn't have to be too exact. So I'm now going to move on to the liquid, and I'm just going to do exactly the same thing, just paint in and then use the embossing powder to colour my image. I'm just going to add on a little bit of music so you can see how the branches come to life. Once I've done all of the branches, I'm then going to move on to the leaves. Now I don't want to do all of the leaves, I kind of want different colour leaves. So for the first ones that I'm doing, I'm going to be using the antique gold. I'm kind of moving my way down through the shades of embossing powder that I'm using. So I'm just going to use the antique gold first and do a couple of these leaves, so not all of them. So once I'm happy with the amount of dark leaves I have, I'm then going to move on to the beautiful rose gold embossing powder, and I'm just going to fill in all of the other leaves that are there. I do end up leaving the outer ones, the ones that are right at the top, because I think these are more of a bud image rather than a leaf. So I do leave these so I can colour these with a different colour later. So as you can see, I'm just using the refill for the embossing ink, and I'm just dipping my tip of my paintbrush in top of it and then painting in the images that I do want to do. I do find that the refill works a lot better than just going off the embossing pad. You do tend to get more of the paint look with the embossing refill because it's more of a liquid rather than just rubbing it on top of the pad. So I'm just going to keep going until I've finished all of these beautiful leaves, and then I will be moving on to the little buds on the edges. So as you can see, it does take a little bit of time, but I do love the effect that this gives, and it's really quite simple because all you're doing is just painting in between the guidelines that have been left with the embossed the image into your paper. So it's really quite easy to do. and it's really quite therapeutic as well. So as you can see, I've just added the buds in using some of the platinum embossing powder, and now I'm just going to add in a sentiment. I'm using a sentiment from the Floral shadow stamp set. I'm just using this beautiful thank you, and I'm going to ink it up using some permanent black embossing powder. I don't really want to take any attention away from all that beautiful embossing that we've done at the bottom of this card. So here is the card complete. I really do hope that you've enjoyed the video and the technique. I would love it if you do give it a go, if you could share with us as well. So again, thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you do want to watch any more videos, we have a couple more here that you can watch at your time and leisure. If you don't want to miss out on any videos that we do upload to the channel, it would be great if you do subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye bye.